Today is Friday. Finally Friday. So, yeah, I mean, for those who are listening or watching or whatever, which for Fridays are not that huge of a deal to me because all my days usually run together anyway. But yeah, today is Friday, October the 30th, and I am your host, KC Phoenix, as you probably already know, and this is my daily thought. So, where to start? I have my hibiscus tea. Good. Uh, Today has been interesting. Little bit of a rough start in the morning, but it's all good. I was having hot flashes for whatever reason this morning, and I decided to turn on the air conditioner before I started because I was like, okay, it's starting to feel a little bit warm. Because sometimes when I talk, it starts to get hotter in the room. The room starts to heat up. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to chance it today. Let me turn on the air conditioner. So I did that. And that's going now, but I'll probably turn it off after I finish recording this. And what else happened today? I talked to my mother. I called her briefly. And she loved those flowers that I told you guys about, the second arrangement. Actually, the second arrangement was her favorite. It was the purple orchids that I had got her. And I explained to her that's the one I originally wanted to get her anyway. It was just they couldn't give me an exact date. And I feel like something is in my eye. Hold on, I gotta put some hand sanitizer on my hands because I'm playing with my eyes too much. And anytime I start messing with my eyes a whole lot, I put hand sanitizer on too. Which I wash my hands like crazy anyway. And I was doing that before it became popular. But today I spoke to my mother. We had a brief conversation about the flowers, and then we talked about something else, and then that was that. And also, I got my confirmation, because I told you about my shoes. Got my confirmation email today. My shoes are on the way. Shout out to FedEx. I love FedEx. So I look forward to seeing them in 2 days. And yeah. Also, I want to say you are amazing. I was thinking about that. That's been on my mind a lot. I don't know if anybody listens to rap, but there is this rapper. And I really, really like her. And I've listened to her for a long time. I mentioned her name before, I'm sure. The rapper's name is Trina. She's also known as the Queen of the South as well. She's real popular in the South. But also she's internationally known as well, too. Because she's been putting in work for years. She's been around since the 90s. And there's this album that she has called Amazing. Or Amazing, within N, no G. And on that album, she does, for the Amazing, it's more of an introduction before she goes into the song, That's My Attitude. And I just love how it goes the way she talks about herself. And I feel people need to do more of that, which I'm going to do an episode on that. Which I typed it or wrote it down, however you want to say, to talk about in the future. And it seems like it may be way down the line because I'm looking at my notes right now. But I may bump it up to probably next week, early next week or something like that. I don't know. Because people, they don't build themselves up enough. So, yeah. But today, I'll go ahead and get into my daily thought. It's about escapism. And it's sort of piggybacking off of what I was talking about yesterday, Take a Chance on You. Because when people let that little voice talk them out of doing something where they're being the cheerleader for everyone else but themselves, and when the time comes for them to do something for themselves, they overanalyze or they let the little voice talk them out of it. and then to not face the situation, they will let themselves become distracted by other things, which I call escapism, where you'll go and play video games, or you'll go and get on social media, or you'll go to the mall or to the movies, or you'll sit down and watch TV, and basically you will do everything but what is needed to pursue the goal, the dream, the task, or whatever it is at hand, because you're afraid to face your fears, or you're afraid of whatever, or you're allowing yourself to be easily distracted. And people do those things because I deal with escapism as well. Not as much now. I still watch TV, but as I mentioned before, the only time I really watch it is if I'm eating. And because it takes me so long to eat, I'll get in whatever I get in. But usually I'm working, whether I'm working my regular job or whether I'm doing stuff for this or whatever concerning business. But before I developed, I guess you could say, a habit of working on my stuff and not escaping to other things. Or let me rephrase. Before I developed the habit of working on stuff, I was escaping to other things, whether it was TV, where I would just lay in the bed and watch TV because it took my mind off of things. When I became frustrated with stuff, I could turn on the TV and I wouldn't think about it. Obviously, I would be thinking about the show, I would be laughing or something like that. And sometimes that's good, especially with laughter, because I mentioned this before. Laughter is always good. And sometimes it's good to step away for 30 minutes or whatever and watch a good sitcom so you can laugh. Because like I said, my go-to sitcom for laughter is The Golden Girls. But just remember, it's a form of escapism. You still have to face whatever needs to be faced. And when I was saying earlier, it could be a task, it could be an issue, it could be this, it could be that. Also, it could just be life, where you've already been fighting all of these battles throughout the day or throughout the week. And you're like, you know what? I don't want to think about anything. I don't want to deal with anything. I'm going to sit in front of my TV and watch, The Masked Singer, which is also one of my favorite shows. Watch The Masked Singer or something like that. Or I'm just going to hop on Facebook and scroll down and scroll through, and then I'm going to post on Facebook and do this and do that. And all of that stuff is forms of escapism. As I said, mine was TV. Also, another form of escapism for me was sex, because that's something that I enjoy. And when I had it, it would take my mind off of things. So you have to be aware of when you're escaping from something you don't necessarily want to think about, or if you are escaping too often. Like I mentioned before, because there's nothing wrong with escaping. That's what sports are for, where people want to watch football or basketball or soccer or tennis or hockey or whatever, or baseball, and not have to think about what's going on in the world, all of the craziness. They don't want to have to think about that. They just want to turn on their sports and watch and see who's going to win, and let it take their mind off of all of the craziness that is going on either in the world or in their own personal life. Because people go through things in their lives where they might be dealing with something where they have an issue with their spouse. Maybe there's an issue with the parents, issue with the kids, issue with the siblings, auntie, uncle, co-worker, having money to pay bills, pick your poison, an issue with something, and then as a form of escapism, so they don't have to think about it for a little while, they'll turn on the TV and watch the football game, or they'll go out and hook up with someone, or they'll go and pick up a bottle of, start drinking alcohol, because drinking is a form of escapism, or smoking is a form of escapism. There's many forms of escapism, but the thing with escapism is, as long as you can recognize that what you're doing is a form of escapism and learn how to control it, and don't let it be your knee-jerk thing where there's something going on in your life, whether it's accomplishing a goal or accomplishing a task or dealing with issues in your life or the craziness in your life, not letting the things that you use to escape be a knee-jerk, versus finding a way to resolve the issue, accomplish the goal, appreciate the task at hand given to you by the universe to possibly learn something new, get other things done, build up your knowledge base, build up your skill base, all of those things. Not just being like, oh my goodness, here this comes at me, let me jump and go play video games. Let me jump and go drink. Let me jump and go smoke. Let me jump and go hop on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever. So you have to learn how to recognize when escapism is happening and do it in moderation. Because there was a saying that I mentioned before when Whitney Houston was talking about on her concert. And I love that saying. She says, smell the perfume, don't drink it. And that's what I have to say to you about escapism. Smell the perfume, don't drink it. Don't get so caught up in it that that's where you go and that's where you stay. Because while you're escaping to this other part, the goal, the issue, the things are still there. And in order for you to resolve it, you have to come back to the real world and face whatever it is. And I know some people who are watching this are like, what is he messing with in his shirt? The reason I'm doing that is because when I'm talking, how can I explain this? It's heavy a little bit right here on the right upper part. So yeah, and also with the air conditioner going and everything else, so that's playing a role too. But anyways, you have to not stay stuck in the habit of escaping. And there comes a time where you have to make a stand and face whatever it is that needs to be faced. Because if you don't face it, it will always be there. It won't go anywhere. If you're constantly, as soon as something's in front of your face and you're like, oh, well, let me go and do this, then it's going to be there. And if you have a goal, let's say you have a goal where you're like, you know what, I want to move into a new house. But when it comes time to invest the time needed to build up your finances or to build up your skills so you can build and acquire a better income and do things like that, you're escaping off because you might feel, oh, it's too difficult. Or you might say, oh, I don't have the time, where that can also be another form of escapism, because people make time for what they want to make time for, regardless of what your situation is. It's just kind of like, because I I go through that sometimes where it's like, oh, wow, I wish I had more hours in the day. Just like tomorrow, I'm keeping my fingers crossed when I turn the key in the ignition that the car is going to start up, because I haven't made time to start my car for over 7 days. And the battery might be there, I might have to get a jump again. However, I could use the excuse that, oh, well, I just didn't have enough time because I had to wake up and do this, I had to wake up and do that, this, that. But really, I was escaping to do other things. Some things were important, but not as important as making sure the battery stays charged. So, you know, you have to figure out, are you escaping? Are you using certain things as a form of escapism to not face what needs to be handled in your life, or what goals need to be accomplished in your life? And that's pretty much my political thought. Not political thought. Wrong show. My daily thought. I tell you. Okay. I had to sip my tea on that one. My mind's getting all crossed up. But yeah, that's all I have on that. Just be aware of when you are doing what's known as escapism. And there's nothing wrong with that. There isn't anything wrong with escapism. There is a reason that it exists. And it is so you don't get overloaded. But when you go on that vacation, when you escape, when you're doing whatever you're doing, playing games, watching football or any other sport, or watching any other TV show, or smoking or hooking up or drinking or whatever your vices, one could say, are, to escape all of the craziness around you, learn to recognize it and learn to control it, where you just don't go overboard with it. That way you can invest more time in the things that will help propel you to greatness, is what I'm saying. Regardless of where you are on the escapism scale, whether you do too little or too much, you're still amazing. And you have to remember that. So yeah, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. KIRWKC on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook.com/KIRWKC if you're watching this on YouTube or Dailymotion. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button followed by the notification bell. That will let you know when I upload new videos. Until next time, be blessed.